Hi, I'm Shenae.
And I'm Nita.
And this week we're talking about the 8 most popular boys in town, also known as my favourites.
Hey, no spoilers.
And one of our latest products is our pruning axe. Hang up birds.
So as Shenae said, today we're talking about the most popular boys in town, and it is definitely true in the Gomboy case. These guys are so popular, they barely get to hang out in our showroom before they disappear again.
Yes.
It's a bit rude. But because so many of you are buying Gomboys, we thought it was important to put out a video to explain the difference between the Gomboys and to help you work out which one you should be selecting. So that's what we're up to today.
So we're going to break it down into 2 groups for you. So we have the black-handled Gomboys, which is the medium tooth, and then we have the Gomboy that is the yellow handle / orange, and that's a curved blade in large teeth.
So 2 main varieties to choose from. As Shenae said, the black medium tooth handle, that was really confusing. So the black handle, which is a medium tooth, and the yellow handle, which is the large tooth and a curved blade.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Australia, we can confuse you a little bit more because we do actually have the option of fine tooth blades and also extra large tooth blades that you can fit into these handles. They're not available as a handsaw, only as replacement blades. So in Australia, you have the choice of purchasing additional blades in a couple of different tooth varieties, but not in a handsaw. But that's all we're going to say about that today. We're focusing on the black handle medium tooth Gomboy and the large tooth yellow handle Gomboy.
Yes, and we're saying that the 8 boys is because they both, each range of Gomboys come in 4 different blade lengths. So we're starting with the 21 centimeters, 24 centimeters, 27 centimeters, and the big 30 centimeters. And it's the same goes with both of them.
Yeah, that's right. So both of them come in those 4 different length options. And they're all boys, the Gomboy family. One day, Silky Japan will make a girl of some description. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping.
I don't know how well it's going to sell though.
We
But
can
anyway,
dream.
back to the Gomboys. So how do you know which one to pick? I mean, yellow's great, stands out. So if you like the bright handle that's going to stand out if you leave it on the grass, then hey, that's the one to pick. Is that how it works? Whereas if you're like into survival and you want the black to camouflage, then maybe you just pick the black. Not so much.
No. Like we were saying before, they're available in 2 different tooth sizes. So medium is the black handled and the yellow / orange is the large. So depending on what type of wood that you'll be regularly cutting, so you'll be cutting more soft green wood regularly, say clearing hanging branches or cutting up green firewood, then you would use the Gomboy curved.
But again, it comes back to size.
Yes.
So we put on the table here some timber to give you an idea. So we have here this bit of gum and this one here. Now, if this is sort of about the smallest thing you're going to cut, about the biggest, well, you could go bigger than this, but on average, this is the kind of wood you're wanting your saw to cut, then the curved blade and the yellow handle is ideal. Now, the few different length options, we'll talk about this in a minute, but we're talking teeth only at the moment. So if this is the kind of size wood you're going to want to cut, then this is the size tooth you're going to want.
Yes, and the same goes with the black handle. If this is the smallest that you'll be cutting, or up to...
Well, actually, the other way around.
Oh, yeah. If this is the smallest piece of branch that you'll be cutting, or you'll be cutting branches about this size, then you would want the black-handled Pocketboy.
Gomboy.
Gomboy.
Now, there is exceptions to these rules, and that is if the wood is hard, dry, fibrous, and dead.
Yes. Yes. So if that's the case, if you're cutting the fibrous hard material, then you'll be after the black-handled Pocketboy.
And you might go, what? That's crazy, it's big. So I should use a big tooth. But you always come back to carpentry, woodworking. If you're cutting wood and woodworking, it doesn't matter how big it is, the teeth are going to be little, because little teeth cut hard, dry material much easier than big, wide, gapped teeth do.
Yeah.
So that's why that one's a better one.
And if you use a fine tooth on green, sappy wood, it will just end up clogging the blade, slowing the process of the cut, and just be more energy that you don't need to use.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, energy, what's that word? Saving energy?
No, it's on the tip.
Conservation.
There it is.
Energy conservation is very important. Then you've got to think how the tools that you have, how versatile they can be, and how you can use them without using up too much energy.
Yeah.
So that's what's great about the fine tooth, is it's very easy to use. It doesn't require a lot of your effort, and it just glides through those hard materials and the smaller branches that are green and sappy very easily.
Yes.
So we figured out, okay, I'm cutting big stuff, I want the yellow one, or I'm cutting medium to small stuff, I want the black one. Now you've got 4 lengths in the blade, so which length do I pick?
Yes, it is a very tough question, but it also comes down to what size wood that you're wanting to cut. So if you're cutting larger branches, then obviously you would go with a larger blade saw. But if you're wanting something that is small, compact, and weight is an issue, you would go towards the 21 or the 24 centimetre blades.
Yeah, so there's a few things you'll be thinking about when you make that choice, but like Shenae said, even the 21 centimetre, as you can see here, you're going to be able to cut that no problems. But if you had the 30 centimetre, the amount of times you'd have to pull that backwards and forwards through that cut is going to be less. So it's going to be much faster to use that longer blade on a big branch. Now you're not going to notice quite so much on the smaller branches over there, but it is still going to be faster because the less forward motions you have to make, the less chance you've got of breaking your blade, and the faster the cut is going to be. But as Shenae said, you might not have the space to store a 30 centimetre long saw in your backpack if that's what you're doing, or in your glove box if you're somebody that carries it around in your glove box, or wherever it is that you have it.
An avid four-wheel driver.
That's the person. Somebody puts it in their glove box. Who are they? Okay.
Road ragers.
Yeah, them too. They might want the long one. They might need the katana boy.
Yes.
So as we mention all the time, Silky make saws with the perfect balance of strength, flexibility, user-friendly, speed, all those sorts of things. So even within the Gomboy family here, you have the consideration of what length do I want as far as how fast it's going to cut, how I'm going to store it, or whether potentially I'm going to break a blade. But even with that in mind, when you choose either the 270 or the 300, they actually make the kerf, which is the width of this blade, sort of from this side to that side, thicker on the 270 and the 300 than they do on the 210 and the 240. So that's to help you not break a blade, basically, because the thicker the blade is, the stronger it is, so the less chance you've got of breaking it. So with with these yellow ones, both the 210 and the 240 have a slightly thinner kerf. It's a 1.2 opposed to the 1.4 of the 270 and the 300, and 1.3 of the 210 and the 240. So a thicker kerf with the longer one, so you do have that added strength. But in saying that, because these are thinner, it's minutely easier to cut with them. So that's a consideration as well when you're picking your Gomboy. Yeah. Now when you go to the black, they're a bit different again.
Yes, the black. So the Gomboy medium tooth 300, 270 and the 240 have a thickness kerf of 1.3.
So it's the same as the 210 and the 240 and the curved?
Yes. Yeah. But when you get down to the Gomboy 270, it's about one slightly thinner, and that's 1.2 is the thickness of the kerf. So like Nita was saying, it's just the balance of...
Yeah, because you might go, well, why? Hang on, this is the same sort of design saw. Why have they made the yellow ones thicker in the 270 and the 300 than they have the black? Like they're the same length, both the 270. So how come this one has a thicker blade than this one? And the reason being is they designed this for you to cut this big wood here. So they're picturing you cutting some big stuff. Whereas with the black one, they're picturing you only cut this little stuff.
Smaller stuff.
So if you're only cutting smaller branches, you shouldn't need it to be as thick. And also, as we've mentioned before, if the blade is thicker, it's harder to use and you're fighting with it a little bit more. So there was no need to thicken these blades, and that's why they've kept them at that width.
Yes, exactly.
Now there's something a bit special about that Gomboy 210.
Yes.
And again, why, you might say, well, why is that even thinner again? It's the same thing. Because it's a shorter blade, they're anticipating you cutting smaller branches. So the thinner they can make it, the faster and easier your cut is. So that's why that one's a thinner blade too.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a unique thing about the Gomboy 270.
210. My turn. I was doing that before, now it's Shenae's turn.
So the unique thing about the Gomboy 210 in the medium tooth, it has little 2 notches on the blade, and that means it has the second setting of angle with the blade. So you have your first setting, and that is to cut your normal branches, but then it also has the angle of pointing up. So this is designed to cut flush to the ground. So say you're in hiking out and or you're in motorbiking or whatever you're doing and there's a branch on the ground, you, instead of doing the awkward trying to cut without the blade getting into the dirt, it has the second to be able to cut.
So if you're sort of doing some bushcraft stuff, like making a wind shelter, let's say, a windbreak, which I should have done when I did my fire, and you want to cut the branches to length, you can lay it on the ground and cut flush to the ground. Ordinarily, you can't do that because the handle's in the way, you kind of have to dig yourself a bit of a hole. So that second setting's great. The other time I really like that second setting is just to use the saw around home. Sometimes there might be a branch I've cut here and then I want to sort of get a branch over here. Whoopsie, I'm going on the setting, but this branch is in the way. It's sort of interfering with what I want to cut. So by pushing that handle up, it allows me to cut, but have the handle out of the way of the cut. I hope that doesn't look too confusing. Did I just cut you? Oh. Catching his finger off as we're doing the demo. Yeah, but it just allows you to have that blade on a different angle, and it can be quite handy. You'll be surprised when it comes in useful.
And the other thing you're probably thinking, I might just click up there, but the only way you can pop it into that second setting is if you press the lever down. So you can either do it with your thumb or your finger, and you press that down like you were going to close it, and then you touch the braid, and then you make sure it's locked in, because if it's not locked in, it's going to wriggle.
Yeah, and then with that in mind, we were watching somebody the other day using these, and they were holding the handle, like where their hand was right up here next to the release lever. Now, not only is that uncomfortable, but it's dangerous because you're going to accidentally push on that lever and loosen the blade, so then it will move. So make sure you're always only holding on to the rubber part of the handle, and then that way you're not going to accidentally knock that release lever there.
Yes, and all Silky Saws, especially the Gomboys, have the special gom rubber on the handles as well. So especially if you're working in slippery conditions or it's hot and you're sweating, the more slipperier it gets, the more grippier
the more slippery your hands are, the grippier it is on that thing. And actually that's a good little side point that Shenae has brought up, because we had a customer just recently sort of saying they only wanted things with wood on them. They didn't want any rubber or plastic. Well, wood is beautiful. We love wood, as you can see. It's all around us and we absolutely adore it. But at the end of the day, these are made to be as user-friendly and as good as they can be in the work application that you're using them in. So a wooden handle is not as comfortable, and it's not as safe because you will slip on wood. It isn't good if you are sweating, whereas the rubber, as Shenae said, this is not any standard plastic or rubber. It's a special rubber that Silky have designed themselves. They've won awards for it, and it's a very grippy rubber. So you're not going to slip on that, which is important, because otherwise you're going to cut your hands.
Which the thought of that makes me cringe.
Yeah, because we've done it, but not by doing it that way, just by gesturing too much. And
talking,
yeah. And the other thing is this rubber absorbs vibration. So if you're doing a lot of cutting, you can get hand fatigue, you can get pain, people have arthritis. So this absorbs those vibrations, so it's much more comfortable to use. And it just feels beautiful in the hand rather than being another tool that's going to cause you pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more specs behind the Silky Gomboy is that it has a hole at the very end of the handle to fit a D-clip through it, or like we have, a piece of rope and a D-clip.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. We chucked it on so we wouldn't forget, rope or D-clip.
The unique thing about the Gomboy handle, it's a design from a race car, did you see?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's super cool, makes it more
That's
secure.
like the grip pattern on it, gives superior grip because it's got these little dimples on it. And yeah, apparently they copied a race car steering wheel.
Yes. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Also, if you are going out on a bit, if you are going out on a bit of an adventure, don't forget to pack an extra set of screws, just in case. For what are the chances of you losing one of those screws? You always got to back up.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. For a couple of dollars, it's a handy thing to have just in case. So basically, that's the specs on the handle, and the Gomboy Black is the same, except it's got a slightly different grip pattern. Same gom rubber though. And then with the blades, other than the teeth being different, and then that one difference with that Gomboy 210 and the black handle having the 2 options for blade, none of the others have that. So clearly that's the only one, the 210 black has that 2 setting, otherwise the rest all have the single. But the blades themselves, thickness is different, but they are all hollow ground, so they have a grinding on them. So when you're cutting, the teeth are really the only thing rubbing against the wood when you cut. The inside of the blade is very thin, so it's not going to rub against the wood, and then the back is thinner than the teeth. So again, you're creating a larger hole than what the blade is, which is why it feels so easy to cut with these Gomboys. So that's the same for the black and the yellow handles. Then they put this special coating on the blade. Now some of the saws have a chrome plating, other ones have a nickel plating, which gives superior rust protection. So that's a new thing that Silky have started putting into their saws, and this is one of the things I love about Silky is they don't just make a saw and go, oh, well, that's as good as it is in 2018, and then in 2020 they find, oh, there's a better protective coating we can put on them, and they just go, oh, we'll do that with the new saws. They then go back, and whenever they produce that old Gomboy that they made many years ago, they then put that new technology on that saw as well. So that's something really cool. Lots of people will go to us, oh, which is the best Silky? Well, that's not the case, because they all have the most up-to-date technology, which is really, really neat. But yeah, these blades have that special coating to give them a protection from rust and resin. Side point, still clean them though.
Yes.
Particularly in Australia, the saps are just too acidic. So definitely give them a clean with the easy spray to stop any rust build-up.
Don't risk it.
Don't risk it, no. And then they all have these little notches on the blades. So now what these notches do is it just makes it easier basically for you to get the blade in and out. It gives you something to grip and hold on to, and that's really the only purpose to the notch. So that's kind of a spec breakdown on the Gomboy. So I guess it's a bit of a recap, quick sort of review on how you're going to pick whether you go black or yellow, small or big.
Your black handle, the medium sized tooth, you'll be cutting something between this size timber and this size timber.
And the yellow curved blade, large tooth, you're going to cut on average this kind of stuff here. So, Shenae sort of mentions it from time to time that the Gomboy is her favourite of all the boys.
Yes.
Why is that?
I just love it because it's a cross between the Pocketboy and the Bigboy as well. So you've got that awesome in between, and it's great because it's lightweight, it's compact, so you'd be able to store it in your backpack. Even in like your glove box, or whether you're road raging or four-wheel driving. But the Gomboy medium 240 is far my favourite because it has the little bit of best of both worlds. It can cut the smaller and drier timber, but then it can also cut the...
So it's a good all-rounder, you're saying?
Yeah, the greenwood as well. So that is just one of my little favourite folding saws out of the range. So.
Well, I thought we'd do a little demo of Shenae using that one to give you an idea how it cuts, except we're just notorious for not being dreadfully organised, so we apologise. I have no lovely green fresh wood, but we've got lots of dead wood. So we're going to do a demo on what that one looks like on dry, hard gumwood, and at least it gives you an idea on how the Gomboy cuts. We'll show you what the finish is like on the wood, and we'll see whether she's like exhausted at the end of it. So we hope that's made it a bit easier to work out which Gomboy you want to pick, whether it's something you use for work or whether you take it on your next adventure. We hope that's made it a bit clearer and easier to figure out which is the right saw for you. If not, please comment. We love to read your comments and we'd love to help figure out which is the best saw for you.
Yes, and please don't forget to subscribe. We love subscribers and we're trying to reach to 1,000 so we can do 2 cool things in our videos so you can see more of us. But yeah, like and comment, do whatever you need to do.
And hit that subscribe button, please.
Yes.
Now, next week, if you have a Hiachi or actually any of the Silky pole saws, then you want to watch next week's video because we have a really cool tool that makes changing springs so much easier.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.